You know what? You're going to listen from 5 to midnight. Just turn it on and don't stop. DJ Alibaba, the underground surround sound start time with Paul Pearson.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul Pearson.
Sunday evening sound sessions on Rainier Avenue Radio. Trust me, you'll be listening the entire time from 5 to midnight. Sunday evening, your sound session on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Join your hosts Violetta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
Hey, Seattle, Shop the Beat is back. Shop the Beat supports the economic recovery of small businesses, local musicians, and neighborhoods throughout Seattle. This program matches small retail businesses with local musicians to host free in-store performances during peak shopping hours to help increase foot traffic and sales for retailers and provide competitive pay for musicians who were significantly impacted by the pandemic. The City of Seattle Office of Economic Development is currently accepting applications from musicians and small businesses who are interested in participating. Apply for Shop the Beat at seattle.gov/economic development. Applications end December 1st.
This is Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Yo, what up, though?
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
All right, then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
Street Beat.
Yeah.
With Tony B. For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community. Street Beat. Street Beat.
Tony. Welcome to this week's edition of Street Beat. It's me, your host, Tony B, and we are going to be talking about healthcare. Now, I don't want to say COVID is something in the past because we still are afflicted, with COVID and all of the ramifications that COVID brought to us. And now there's some more variants out. But through COVID, we still have healthcare issues, and we've had healthcare issues. 1 in 4 African Americans dies waiting for healthcare. We're going to talk about healthcare today. Joining me is Rashad Collins. Rashad, good to have you here, man. Rashad comes from Neighborcare Health after serving as the Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President at Charter Oak Health Center and Chief Program Officer at Community Health Center Association of Connecticut. I do read the bio, but Rashad, I'd like to hear from you more about yourself. We're going to talk about Neighborcare Health. We're going to talk about healthcare. But first, let's talk a little bit about your background.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here and to connect. So my background, I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts, birthplace of basketball.
You have to rub that in since we don't have a team anymore.
I certainly all in on bringing the Sonics back to Seattle. So whatever I can do, I am all in. But certainly I got my start working in the healthcare environment by working in the Primary Care Association, working with all the federally qualified health centers across the state of Connecticut. Really gave me an opportunity to learn about the importance of healthcare, but also the impact that we can have in serving not only the underserved communities, but providing quality healthcare services to all. Our ability to do that heavily depended upon community partnerships. We all have very dedicated individuals that are interested not only in improving the lives of individuals and families, but also understanding that healthcare is a right and doing everything that we possibly can within all of the opportunities that given all the opportunities and resources that we have to maximize that as much as possible.
Okay, let's talk about Neighborcare Health. what is, for someone who's from Mars, Neighborcare Health?
So, Neighborcare Health is a community health center. We serve anyone, regardless of age, race, ethnicity, insurance status, anyone, any age. We serve any and everyone. And so, for us, it's truly about serving the whole person. And we do that in a variety of different ways. We offer comprehensive medical, dental, behavioral health care. And Neighborcare in particular, which is an organization that's been in our community in Seattle for over 50 years, does that in very particular ways. And specifically within our school-based program, we have a very large school-based program. We provide adult dental services, medical services, and we also have a healthcare for the homeless program as well. So we're very particular on serving everyone, but specifically within those populations, making sure that we provide the services, but then also too that we make it affordable and available to everyone.
Okay. And this is Rainier Avenue Radio.world. It's me, Tony B. You know what? I'm going to let you in on something. I bought brand new batteries for the lab mic, and apparently they're just not working. So you know I'm shameless. So we're going to pass this microphone back and forth. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of Neighborcare Health?
So Neighborcare Health, similar to community health centers, the National Community Health Center movement was born out of the civil rights movement. It came by way of a partnership with multiple community-based organizations that identified the importance of healthcare services and specifically targeting underserved communities where healthcare was not as readily accessible. So, over time within that partnership, Neighborcare was forged. And becoming a federally qualified health center afforded Neighborcare the opportunity to join the community health center movement, which is a national movement of over 1,400 organizations that focuses on serving the underserved, but again, making healthcare services affordable and available to everyone, regardless of whatever social or economic barrier that they may be facing. And as we continue to think about our communities, as we continue to survive and thrive through the pandemic, we truly look at this opportunity as forging a path forward for the future in ensuring that our communities are able to stay vibrant, but also too recognizing a lot of the barriers that our communities face and looking at new and innovative ways to truly bring about change.
Okay. You talked about this a little bit, but give us a little, let's take a little deeper dive. How do folks, now that we've got this conversation going, again, this is Tony B. You're listening to Street Beat right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. My guest is Rashad Collins, CEO of Neighborcare Health. How do folks access Neighborcare Health for folks who may be having challenges and say, well, wait a minute, I could use something like this. Eligibility requirements, how does all that work?
Good question. So our services, again, are available and accessible to everyone. So there's multiple different ways to contact Neighborcare. Our website is one of them, neighborcare.org. We also operate 17 school-based health centers across greater Seattle. And also we have a site on Vashon Island at Vashon High School. We also have a site at Pike Market right there in the midst of all of the heavy volume and traffic. And we have brick and mortar clinics across northern, central, and South Seattle as well. So any way that anyone can access us by way of either calling us, going on our website, requesting an appointment, also just walking in for services as well. I know that was not as popular during the height of the pandemic, but we are fully back to walk-in services as anyone is requiring or inquiring about a service with us at Neighborcare.
Now, during the pandemic, Rashad, obviously we had to stay at home. A lot of things stopped. A lot of things stood still. Getting sick did not. Stop. But for a lot of folks, they did not do some of the things that could have been done. We know now that, as example, some of the vaccines that people normally had been getting for years, they stopped getting. People put off trips to the doctor because of everything that was going on with the pandemic. I'd like for you to talk about this thing called preventive health care, and what that is, and what that looks like, and what that means, and why it's so important to people. Because a lot of times people are busy, you work, and until something happens, you say, you just don't stop. But talk about preventive health care, why that's important, how it works, and yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a great question and great point, Tony. Certainly the pandemic, put a lot on pause, and specifically talking about the health and well-being of our communities and of individuals. Many organizations, even similar to Neighborcare, had to pivot towards providing services via telehealth, which is not necessarily the same as providing services in person, but yet still providing that access and opportunity for preventative healthcare services, which we know is important. Very similar to thinking about the cars that we drive or any sort of vehicle. It's the preventative services. It's the getting the oil checked. It's whenever the brake lights, whenever any sort of maintenance lights come on. It's important to think about how we continue to make sure that we're not just being reactionary when something occurs with our healthcare, but we're being proactive, and that is by ensuring that we are making those appointments for our for youth or for children, our well child visits. Any chronic disease care visits that we may need, also regular dental checkups, and then also too, critically important, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, behavioral health care as well. We all have dealt with so much throughout the pandemic, a lot of trauma, a lot of circumstances that were beyond our control, and it's important that we make those appointments and gain proactive access to services that can allow us to better take care of ourselves.
I'm still gonna ask for more specifics. Preventive health care. If you were to say, here's a checklist, and everybody's body is different, ages are different, but what would the suggestions that you would offer to someone right now who is listening, who is saying that, you know what, I'm in pretty good health, whether I'm 20 or whether I'm 40 or even whether I'm 55, things that you should be concerned about, that you should go get checked. As an example, there is a certain age where you have to go to the doctor, and you have to get checked, so that if you have a particular kind of cancer, and I'll let you tell them about that, you can be ahead of the game. And so let's start with that. Some things that people should think about before you show up and your doctor tells you this is a problem.
Yeah, to that, I would say it's important that everyone is being very mindful of the fact that a lot of the chronic issues that we deal with within our communities, some can be hereditary, some come from health disparities that exist in our communities, and it's important that we work with healthcare providers to not only give us those important checkups and run the necessary tests, but also are able to provide and develop treatment plans for us based on our specific set of circumstances, so that we can be in a more preventative mindset when it comes to dealing with our issues or potential issues. As we know, as Tony mentioned, issues specific to cancer, we know that when we're able to catch these issues earlier on, we have a better opportunity to improve the quality of life, and to often even to be able to catch it early enough to then which can then lead to remission. But in order to do that, it's important to have the plan developed with a healthcare professional that can look at your individual issues, whether they be hereditary or specific to you, in order to ensure that it's not exacerbated by either waiting too long or by not addressing it as early as possible.
And I know you're not a doctor, but I just wanted to share that information. And it's slipping my mind right now, because I was like, this was a perfect opportunity to remind everyone about this particular cancer that as you get older, and I'm forgetting the prostate. That's the word I was looking at. At a certain age, make sure and get that checked. The reasons why you think that you may not want to do it pale in comparison to having to deal with having prostate cancer, and you get to a certain point where there's less that they can do about it. Anyway, that's my personal PSA to everybody. Again, you're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. It's me, Tony B. My guest is Rashad Collins, CEO of Neighborcare Health. We're talking a little bit about Neighborcare Health. Rashad, I want to ask you your feelings about this. One of the things that was exposed during the pandemic, which if you live in the Black community, you already know, is that we don't trust the healthcare system. So when someone like you comes on and says, hey, we're Neighborcare Health, we care about you, we care about, your well-being, your total, a lot of people go, well, I've heard that story before. What do you say when I say that to you, that there is a lack of trust, in particular in the Black community, when it comes to our healthcare system?
Yeah, first and foremost, I would say that lack of trust is not unfounded or circumstantial. I mean, we know that there have been systems in place that have certainly exposed and have also been intentional in regards to exacerbating those disparities that continue. Specifically, we're talking about the Black community, which is also one of the issues that made when the COVID vaccine was released, there was a lot of hesitancy in our communities to get vaccinated. I would say that it's important to, the important thing is to look at organizations, and specifically within our communities, like community health centers, like Neighborcare, that are doing this work and that are passionate and exist for the right reasons. And for community health centers, which were born out of the civil rights movement, specifically targeting communities where healthcare access was less prevalent than affluent communities. And I would say that the important aspect is to have these experiences for yourself. It's important to think about how to proactively take care of yourself and your families. And organizations such as Neighborcare are here for you, regardless of whatever it is that you're dealing with. And not only are we direct service care providers, but also community connectors, as we work with many partners throughout the community that are trusted and that are here for you and are here for the community.
And see how you segue that from into the next thing. How do you build partnerships within the community? And those partnerships obviously are with community, but there's also partnerships with other businesses, nonprofit organizations, social service providers. What do you look for, and how do you establish those partnerships?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, I look at what we are not. So we cannot be all things to all people. And in human services and within our communities, we know that there are organizations that are staples and extremely important when it comes to provision of healthcare services, whether it be physical fitness, whether it be social service programs, and then also our health departments and other organizations as well. And so for us, it's, what are areas of strength for us as an organization that we can certainly be a subject matter expert and a leader in, and then understanding that since we're out to treat the whole person, and we know a very important part of that is the social determinants of health, and that moves us towards the importance of who can we work with, who can we partner with, continuing to cultivate partnerships over 50 plus years of Neighborcare's existence, but then also new partnerships that are going to be just as important and vital for our communities moving forward.
as the CEO of the organization, and first of all, congratulations. How connected do you have to be to the city? At that 30,000 foot level, where money comes in and decisions are being made. But at the same, by the same token, as folks are watching here, they'll have an expectation. How connected are you, or should you be, or do you have to be on the grassroots level? Now, and I know that's a lot. As I see, you can't do everything, but just to give people an opportunity to hear what that means. And I guess that's kind of like, what do you do all day? But just share with us a little bit about, again, you talked about partnerships, making those connections, again, what I call the 30,000 foot level. And then at the same time, some of those decisions that are made at that level, when they hit the ground, the circumstances can be a lot different, which is why I bring that up.
Yeah, it's a good point. I would say, first and foremost, it's incumbent upon the organization and myself as the CEO to develop a community engagement strategy, which includes that 30,000 foot level that you mentioned, but also at the grassroots level, always keeping in mind that, that's in the field where the work is real. And it's very important for us to continue to not only look at everything from the 30,000 foot level, but also ensuring that we're engaging with community partners at the ground level. Now, that is ensuring that within having a community engagement strategy, that we have individuals in the places that they need to be, attending the necessary events that we need to attend, partnering with the agencies and organizations, and continuing to cultivate and build those strategic partnerships. And then last but certainly not least, it's going to be important for us to make sure that we show up. We not only show up physically, but we also show up with our resources, ensuring that that we're not just promoting ourselves, but truly making sure that we're making good on that investment, because the organization has a reputation, but then also too, our partners do as well. And we want to make sure that we are meeting the need.
All right. A couple things I want to make sure that we cover is, man, the time just flew by, that we cover for everybody. Well child visits. Let's talk about that a little bit. Chronic conditions. And you mentioned this at the top of the show, is also dental. Again, and these are some things that, again, are easy to, as you go through your day and you're trying to, endure this political season, and all of the things that evolve from that. But again, well child visits, again, dental, and then chronic conditions.
Yeah, extremely important. As was previously mentioned, we think about well child visits. We want to make sure that our children, who are our future, continue to receive the necessary services, and continuously following up to getting any necessary immunizations they may need, making sure that the care plan that the pediatric providers have developed continues to be adhered to, and that those checkups are regular. And again, being a community health center, we're able to provide those services in person. And then we do have some services that can be accessible via telehealth as well. So we want to make sure that we make it as accessible as possible for parents and for guardians. And then for chronic conditions as well, specifically, I'll talk about diabetic care. We know that is very prevalent in our community. We want to make sure that individuals come in and are continuing to follow the plan of their primary care provider. But then also, we provide, diabetic care that also extends itself with our nursing team, our nutritionists, our registered dietitians. We want to make sure that we are continuing to improve the lives of individuals who continue to live with any chronic condition. And then for sure for dental, we have a large adult dental program, but also we see children as well. And we want to make sure that everyone is coming in for their regular dental checkups and getting any additional services that they may need. in a very affordable and accessible way.
Again, you're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. It's me, your host, Tony B. My guest is Rashad Collins, CEO of Neighborcare Health. At the top of the show, Rashad, this was a statistic that I knew a while ago. It probably hasn't changed much. I mentioned that 1 in 4 African Americans die waiting for health care. You have a goal of 100% access. Which is, again, along with the other things that are involved in it, 100% access to healthcare. That's a lofty goal. How do you go about saying we're going to make this happen? We're going to achieve this? Again, you talked a little bit before about, and probably well deserved, the reason why in particular African Americans don't necessarily trust the healthcare system, but then the whole goal of access to the healthcare system, 100%. Now, I'm impressed, but by the same token, when you come on Rainier Avenue and radio and say that because of our community, we have to hold your feet to the fire because that's a big issue. How do you go about accomplishing that goal?
Well, first and foremost, we have to challenge ourselves with defining access, which is what we're aiming to do. And to your point of 1 in 4, I mean, that is a statistic that show that certainly displays that we have a lot of work to do, meaning that what we believe is access, which there's various levels of it, which is having 29 sites spread across Seattle, and that individuals can access us and come into our doors. We also have telehealth services, but there's more that needs to be done. And this is where the strategic partnerships are important. We know that if not us, our community partners have the ear and the trust of individuals that may not be accessing Neighborcare services. And it's incumbent upon us to forge those partnerships by where we're able to expose those individuals to the importance of our healthcare services, but also by ensuring that we may need to bring those services to them, not necessarily wait for them to come to us. So variety is the slice of life. And, the important piece of that when we think about healthcare service delivery is we're going to need to ensure that we're meeting the needs of the individuals and families in our community by ensuring that the services that we provide are not just done in one way, but in a variety of different ways that ensures that everyone has that access.
All right, Neighborcare Health. Rashad, we're about out of time. Welcome to Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. I wanted to give you the opportunity for final words, though. If there's anything that you'd like to say to our audience that's listening right now, we also have an audience that's watching and listening. Any thoughts that you would like to share?
Yeah, just that the fall, winter Seattle season is finally here after an extended summer. And, it's going to be important to ensure that that you access your healthcare provider and that you certainly can contact us at Neighborcare. We are available for any and everyone, all ages, and we hope to see you soon.
All right. Again, Neighborcare Health. Oh, one more shameless plug. How can folks get a hold of you, find out more information about Neighborcare Health?
Yes, you can access us via our website, neighborcare.org.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us. It's me, Tony B., your host of Street Beat. Take care of your health. Ultimately, it is important. I had a friend tell me, Rashad, when I was trying to figure out how to balance work and health, and they made it real simple for me. They said there is no balance. Health has to win. So there we go. That's it. That's all the time that I have. That's going to do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B., your host of Street Beats. And remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.